Hello everyone, and welcome to your video on the mean, the median, and the mode. So here's an assortment of numbers: 14, 20, 14, 22, and 5. If I were to ask you to calculate the average of those numbers, how would you go about doing that? Well, you remember that you add them up, so 14 plus 20 plus 14 plus 22 plus 5, that is going to equal 75. And then you divide that by the number of terms you just added, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you divide it by 5. And when you do that, 75 divided by 5 is 15. So the average of all of those numbers is 15. Okay, what you just calculated here, although you have been calling it the average for years now, it is actually the mean average. The mean average. And you can remember that because your mean math teachers made you calculate that average, right? The mean average. That's the one that we've been calculating for years. Okay. The median and the mode are two other types of averages. So really when you think of averages right now, you think, I wonder which average they mean. Do they mean the mean? Do they mean the median? Or do they mean the mode? Because all of them are types of averages. Now, whenever someone just talks about the plain old average and they don't, explain themselves, they mean this one. They mean the mean. Okay? All right, so for the mean average, you add them all up, you divide by the number of terms, you get a number. For the median average, what you have to do is you have to put your terms in numerical order. So 5 is the smallest, and then I have a 14, and I have another 14, and I have a 20, and I have a 22. So I lined those numbers up. And the median is the middle. So that's this one. So 14 is my median average. It's the middlemost number. And the mode is the most frequent. So looking at these numbers, you could see that 14 happens 2 times. Everything else just happens 1. So 14 is our mode. Okay, so again, we have the mean is the regular average that we've been calculating. Add them up, divide by the number of terms. The median is the middle, and the mode is the most frequent. Okay, so that's pretty easy, right? Right. What's interesting here is that now you understand how statistics can start to lie to you. For instance, let me show you this. So let's say that you are going to go to a theme park, and you are super excited because you are a fan of roller coasters. And this particular theme park says average height is 178 feet. That's what their brochure says. That's what their website says. That's what they sing to in some, lame little jingle on the TV. They say 178 feet. But look at this roller coaster information. Where do you see anything even remotely close to 178? Nowhere. We have one outlying roller coaster. Outlying means, way off the charts compared to everybody else. So we have one outlier, but everything else is much smaller than 178 feet. So imagine how disappointed you would be if you went and they said, yes, we have 5 roller coasters at our theme park. And you look at them and only one of them is bigger than the 178 feet. So that's how statistics start to lie. So how did they calculate this average height? Well, they did it just the way you would expect. They took 109 plus 135 plus 140 plus 365 plus another 140. They added that all up to get 889. They divided by 5 and they got 177.8. That's how they did it. The problem is that that is a misleading number. It might have been more helpful for them to give you the median number. So again, to calculate median, I'm going to line things up in order. So I have 109, 135, I have two 140s, and I have a 365. So the median height is 140 feet. This is the median. So you would know that half of the roller coasters at the park are less than 140 feet, and half of the roller coasters at the park are more than 140 feet. That is a much more legitimate number for them to be advertising. Now, almost no one advertises the mode, but the mode in this case is 140. Because that is the number that is most frequent. So in this case, our median and our mode are the same. It doesn't have to be that way. Lots of times, you don't even have a mode because you have all the numbers are a little bit different, so there is no mode. So that's an example of how statistics lie. Let me give you another example. This one, very common. Here are home prices for a neighborhood. If you add up all those home prices, you get $18,507,000 worth of house. And there are 7 houses there, so that means that the average is $2,643,857 and some change. So you could say, move into this neighborhood. Average prices are $2.6 million. But if you look at the home prices in this neighborhood, you can see that you have 2 humongous houses. Humongous and expensive houses. And then you have all the rest of them. These other 5 houses are much, much, much more modest homes. In fact, if you were to list it all out, in order, you would have $10 million house and you would have an $8 million house. And then your next one would be $120,000. Boy, that's a serious drop, huh? And then we'd have $105,000, $97,000, $95,000, and $90,000. So you can see that you have these 2 outliers, which are way different than these other housing prices. What is our median price? Remember, median means whatever the number is, half the houses are going to be higher than that, and half the houses will be lower than that. And so our median is right here. Our median is $105,000. That is a much more legit characterization of this neighborhood than average house price is $2.6 million. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, we don't have a mode in this situation because we don't have anything that repeats itself. We don't have any numbers that repeat itself. But I will say, look at, we have 3 of them in the 90s. So I'm going to call this mode-ish. That is not a mathematical term. I totally just made that up. But you can see that 3 of them are way down here in the 90s, which is very different than $10 million or $2.6 million. Okay, so that is why when you listen to the radio or you watch the news or you read a magazine or a newspaper, that you have to pay attention to what information they are giving you. And you always have to think critically, because unless they're actually showing you the raw data, you are not going to get a full picture of what it is they're trying to tell you. You're getting an incomplete picture of the information. All right, that is mean, median, and mode.